One. Hi, folks. You're watching. Sorry, you caught me. You're watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here in sunny Southern California. That gentleman out there is
Eric Zandona in Crestview, Florida.
Our own Florida man, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Zandona. Eric and I have been really enchanted so far with a lot of the line that we've gotten from craft distillers. They've made this happen. They are an importer of specifically beautiful agave spirits. And tonight, here's another one that I've been after for a long time.
Yeah.
Animus.
Yeah.
Animus means soul in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, what makes this one special? This is an artisanal mezcal.
Yeah. So one of the... What's that?
Have you had it before? I know it's been around a while.
Yeah, no, I haven't had it. I've been very intrigued by it because I really like the label. So we could talk about packaging later.
Yes.
But no, what's interesting about this one is it's a mixture. You said medley of espadín and papalote. Or agave cuprieta, which is, an agave you don't see on its own too often. So I'm excited to taste this one.
Yeah, there's really only one or two. I think off camera, Eric and I were discussing. I think there's one, the brand owner's Cheech Marine. I've never been able to get that one. And that one says Papalometal. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't speak Nahuatl. But anything, I'm so enamored. I think I'm kind of torn. I'm not sure if I like blends more than I like mezcals that are not blended, because each of them has a beautiful, especially the hand of the maker. They have these beautiful dovetail one flavor into the other, and the layers of complexity when you blend. And it's not uncommon that you would blend, depending on the area you're making this in. Maybe you've got too much bicouché, and so you're using that along with your espadín. You don't have enough espadín, so you're using 2 or 3 different plants, and then you come up with this beautiful symphony.
Yeah.
Like a jazz band of everybody's riffing off each other. And so I'm kind of anxious to see what, because I've never had Papalometal. This is my first one, so I'm
yeah. And on the back, they even include information about how old the plants were when they were harvested, and so really lots of information on each bottle.
That's awesome. And again, I'll mention the holographic stamp for even more information. Hopefully you have a good QR code reader. Snap that tag, and it'll take you right where the palenque is. That's the distillery. Who makes it? They'll give you even more information. Hopefully, most of them actually do. So I'm going to pour mine again in a Stotzel Jarrito that I normally use for mezcal. What's our ABV on this one? Jeez, I didn't even bother looking.
48%, or okay. What is that? 9.
The 48.
92?
Yeah, 92, something like that.
Or 96. 96.
Wait. No, yeah. Yeah. We just got to double it. That's what ABV is. You double it and tell you what the proof is. That's the formula.
Wow.
And I'm really bad at math, but I'm so grateful to craft distillers for letting us dissect all these. It's just beautiful. Every one of these is so complex. We can go like another 20 minutes. We try not to, but
Right.
Oh wow, now that's different.
Yeah, very different, but
it's not as fruity. I'm expecting to be more fruit, and it's more earthy and herbal and plant-like.
Yeah, but I'm just really captivated by it. There is there's an element of it that reminds me of like burnt marshmallow, but like it's like that smoke and vanilla kind of combo that you get when you char the outside of a marshmallow.
Yeah.
but it's just like, but also there's just this really like kind of complex and deep aroma that you could spend a lot of time just really enjoying this. There are elements too that remind me of rum agricole. Like there's a little bit of sweetness, but also like an herbaceous quality that reminds me of like, you know, some rums you might get out of Martinique.
You know, it's funny you
Oh,
should mention the rums because Felipe and I had a chance to taste rum out of Chiapas. So
mm-hmm.
you know, it's an area that's been making rum forever. Okay, it's an
Yeah,
ancestral thing. A lot of people don't know about it.
yeah,
My experience with rum has been as a kid. My folks are from Central America, so I was telling Felipe that we always had flor de caña. My folks are from
yeah,
Nicaragua, so when my grandparents would come and visit, they'd bring a bottle of flor de caña, and in those days it wasn't as mass produced as it is now.
right.
And they would, and of course the aged versions were too expensive, so they'd bring us the blancos, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we had two. It was called the. Oh my God, the name escapes me, and it's playing right now on Twitter. It's playing in a heavy rotation. Um, it is a from Chiapas, and what I remember is that the cane wasn't processed like with a diffuser, like you know sugar cane is now. That's where the diffuser actually came from, is the cane, the rum industry,
Yeah.
and it's more like done by hand. And Felipe and I came up with this. It was tasting like we were in the jungle. You could taste you could
Mm-hmm.
smell and taste like a wet rain, like a
Yeah.
rainforest, you know. And that's what I remember about that rum is that I've never had. It's almost like having Sierra Norte whiskey. It's corn
Mm-hmm.
whiskey made from heirloom corn. I've never
Yeah.
had whiskey you could taste the corn with.
Yeah.
So the rum was similar. You know, you could taste the cane.
Yeah.
And you're right. This one is it's deep. It's
Yeah.
it's uh it's the smell of the plant, uh, uh, and maybe even the. I don't even know how it's fermented yet. I got to take a look at the information here, but
Yeah, from what I've seen, they ferment this in open, you know, pine vats, I think, with the fiber, which is
fiber.
common in
Right.
Oaxaca. And I think I read too that the agaves are crushed with a tahona.
Oh,
Think
okay.
so.
Well, I say we dive in because there's
Yeah,
some
let's
beautiful
try it.
alcohol coming up here in a second. Mm. Wow. Mm.
Hmm.
This is a rather aggressive mezcal.
Yeah. So I'd say
Oh,
it's lighter on the palate than compared to the Alipus that we had, but still packed full of flavor. Really, it's did those that where some, you know, we've had others mezcals where the aroma is very different from the flavor. These I'd say very similar. Like what you smell on the aroma to me is very similar to what I'm getting on the palate, but really enjoyable. Really just like chock full of flavor.
this is you know, it's not for the squeamish. This is really it taking you by the shirt collar and says, "I'm here." And
Yeah.
what I loved, I got like pepper explosion. It was almost behaving like a really high proof tequila.
Yeah.
Pepper explosion, lip numbness. Um, the finish was long, medium to long.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny because again, I'm looking at the legs and tears. They're not clingy on the glass. They're very
No.
thin.
Yeah.
But you know, the legs and tears are not an indication of mouthfeel because it was really substantial.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Lot of, I would say a lot of residual sweetness too, but it's not like you don't get like it's the body is really light on the palate. So it's, you know, again, this is like one of the things that's really fun about mezcals is you can get lots of complex character that kind of goes in different directions from what you're used to, you know.
Yeah, you can't. You really do need GPS on your you know, because it's not like a natural progression like some tequilas that you and I have had, you know, or anybody else. You already know what the progression is going to be.
Yeah.
This one is, you know, unless you're using GPS, you don't know where it's going to take you.
Yeah.
And it's cool because you're along for the ride. You have no
Mhm.
idea where you're going, you know.
Yeah.
At the end of the first pass, I even got some distinct spearmint. I got like mint
Mhm.
on the very end after I
Mhm.
swallowed, and then a little bit on the retronasal side. Oh my God, that's mint!
Yeah.
And
But even like I'd say like one of the things that's standing out to me is that there's this really rich like caramel character that I'm getting. It's this really, it's like cooked sugar, just really got this deep flavor to it that or I guess another way you could think about it rather than that is like candied yams almost.
oh, I'll buy that.
You
I'll
know what
buy
I
that.
mean? So that's sort of like another way to kind of describe the flavor.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
again, like, as we've talked about, you know, when you cook agaves and you eat the cooked plant, like it tastes a lot like yam or sweet
Yeah.
potato.
Or
A lot
pumpkin.
of more flavors.
I tell people it smells and tastes like pumpkin pie. So it's within that family, that range of family.
Yeah, yeah,
Tastes like Thanksgiving.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
And yeah, you're getting a lot. Well, I think that has to do a lot with the taona and the fermentation. Like
Mm-hmm.
you said, they're using the fibers, so you're getting a lot of the plant character coming through in the distillation as well. This is delightful though,
Yeah.
and it's, you know, the funny thing is the nose is heavy, but the flavor profile is really quite bright.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things I really love about this, as I mentioned before, is the label. I would say brand and promise, or you know, for in packaging. I really love the art that's on this. I think it conveys. I mean, it's got this sword imagery and the kind of the deer spirit. I think it
Is
conveys some
that
of the
deer?
power.
Oh, it is deer. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah. Conveys some power that the spirit has. Really like that. The bottle, from what I'm seeing, retails around $92. So, you know, definitely a step in price compared to some of the other ones that we've looked at so far from craft distillers. But getting a lot of flavor, lots of, like, this is really well done. Really time, you know, people are taking their time to make this. So, you know, it's definitely something I would sit and sip and enjoy.
this is very special. It is a. I think Eric, you spent time in Oaxaca, and you said something very interesting. You and I were tasting a bacanora at the time, and you said, you know, this bacanora reminds me of a celebratory
Yeah,
bacanora, and
yeah,
so in this case, I think Animas would be a very good addition to anything celebratory. You know,
yeah.
holidays,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, baptisms, things like that. You know,
Yeah,
where you're something spiritual. You know, even uh, you know, being Hispanic, you celebrate different things. Like if you have a cousin who gets, um, he gets to be, he graduates and becomes from seminary, becomes a priest. This is one
mm-hmm.
of those celebratory things that
Yeah,
you bless, you know, and then you enjoy with your local priest, you
yeah,
know, or your friar, or
yeah.
something like that. I think a baptism, you know, whatever you guys celebrate, I think this is a really great addition. Do we know what the percentage is of the espadín and papalote? Does it tell us?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it said what the percentage blend is. So, I don't know. It's possible that it might vary batch to batch just on what the growing conditions are like and
The
what's
pictures are
available.
beautiful. The
Yeah,
information I have not gone onto the website, but they have the copper stills,
yeah,
uh, fermentation in pine vats, which, I think a lot of the character from the old fermentations are probably in that pine. That's why it's very popular for open air fermentation with the fibers.
yeah.
It's like, and your Taona as well, because I guess they're telling us it is Taona, correct?
I think that's what I saw. Let's see.
And the
And
plants themselves are the plants themselves are stressed. I mean, they really do look for stressed plants, which means minimal growing range, high altitude, minimal water. They really, really want to get the character from the terroir from the plant. Um, the maestro mezcalero is Procoro Bautista. Oh, there you go, Bautista.
mhm.
That's where I got baptism from. That's it.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Um, okay, so have you ever had papalometal on its
Yeah,
own?
I believe that I have in a mezcal from Puebla, but it's been years now. So
Are we
I
tasting are we tasting a characteristic of papalometal? Because this is again is an ensemble, or they're calling it an ensemble. I call it a medley because it's only two plants.
yeah.
Um, uh, are we tasting any of the characteristics? I think that we are. I think we're smelling a lot more of the characteristics of the papalometal comes in to me across on the nose,
Yeah,
because you and I have had straight espadín from several
right.
regions, and it's very bright and fruity. I mean, that's the general characteristic.
Yeah, my guess is that what we're getting out of this is partly the addition of the papillomelia or papillote, depending on who you talk to. But also, I think this aroma and flavor is really indicative of their like native yeast that's floating in the region.
Okay.
Because so as you said, like with the example of the rum from did you say Chiapas or
Yeah,
yeah.
Chiapas.
So like I've also had, natural fermented rum from Oaxaca, and like you get tons of different flavors, but it's the same sort of process. But it is the yeast really drives the flavor profile. Hey, I'm busy.
Okay. All right. Well, the situation is that uh, I'm wondering how I thought at the beginning I was getting something savory. I was getting that on the nose, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not on the flavor profile. It really was bright and peppery,
Yeah.
and it was the two of them don't really, the nose is different than the flavor profile. You and I were talking about that just
Yeah.
earlier,
Yeah.
and um, now I want to try. Now I really want to try Cheech Marine's mezcal. That's only papalote, because I've never had it.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get it. One of these days we will get it. He'll pay attention. He'll send it to us,
Yeah.
or I'll run into him. As a matter of fact, here in Pasadena, close by to us, he has been at the local El Cholo in Pasadena, which is one of our favorite places. And I'm gonna see if the owner of El Cholo, that particular branch, will help me out and maybe get us a couple samples, because I would really love, and I'll have him sip it. I'll have it sent it to you in Florida, because I think this, it's
Yeah.
really weird when you delve into mezcal, and then you're playing with the medleys and the ensembles. You have to almost reverse engineer the whole thing and go, okay,
Yeah.
what's a papalote just taste like? I want some
Right.
of that. So
Right.
that's my next. I'm going to see if I can't swing that. It may be
Mhm.
next year in 2022 when I get that. But I agree with you. Brand of Promise nominee
Yeah.
in
For
this
sure.
in this particular, and of course for packaging too. I think the packaging is stunning. You know, wouldn't be this awesome to have a poster?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
some of these labels.
Yeah. I agree.
I have one of the things that because of this business, we get a lot of tchotchkes sent to us. You know, whether it's a T-shirt or a hat, you know, or shakers and things like that. And every once in a while, I'll get a poster, and I save all those because eventually I'm going to put them all over on my walls in the office, just like you're going to put posters on your wall.
Yeah.
You know, so this would be really cool to put this behind you. And how would you like to have this as your Zoom background, right?
Yeah, might be a little intense for work calls.
Yeah, that's true, huh? What's that behind you? It's scary. I know. But again, Brand of Promise nominee in this particular category. What a beautiful, beautiful mezcal. I want to thank Craft Distillers for making this happen for us. That's our take on Animus. You have been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That gentleman out there is
Eric Zandona in Crestview, Florida.
Eric and I have just been beside ourselves. We got two more of these expressions to go. Stick with us. You've been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media. Please follow us. If you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on Spotify, you know, download your podcast wherever you get them. And whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.